It is time to ignite those dreams of our young people and empower the youth to bring their visions to life. Now, we are partnering with the After School Graduate Development Center on the Ignite Enterprise project to provide practical tools to teach young people how to build businesses and to create employment for others. In Lagos, the possibilities are endless. Èkó ò ní bàjẹ́ o.
Lagos State, in partnership with AGDC, presents Ignite, powered by First Bank and supported by Bank of Industry.
Hiring, that's always good news. Firing, always bad news. Managing people, a major challenge. But that's the topic of this episode. We'll be discussing people, hiring them, managing them, firing them. You might be a one-person business today, but one day, as you grow, you will eventually need to hire staff because no human being can do it all by himself or herself. A strong business needs a strong team, and it's up to you to select the right team players so you can provide the leadership to motivate the team and the courage to cut the players that you think are dragging the team down. My name is Ibukun Awoshika, and I welcome you to Ignite.
From the great city of Lagos, it's another inspiring episode of Ignite. Practical business advice taking you from dreams to reality. Ignite, from dreams to reality.
Firing. Before I talk about firing, I'm going to go back a little bit to managing. So before you get to the point of deciding you want to fire someone, you would have looked at certain things, the rewards and benefits you had in place for the person, the performance of the person, and what they are contributing to the business. Those are the two factors that get you to a point where you're like, no, this is not benefiting my company. So once you look at those factors, in other words, you can look at the benefits and rewards, and you can tell that this is market standard, or for the kind of size of your organization, you're paying a good rate, so there shouldn't be any problems around there. And then you now look at performance. It's like somebody going out and buying, let's say, a Ferrari. When you go and buy a Ferrari, they tell you that, oh, the Ferrari can do 0 to 120. I'm not an expert on cars, but I'm sure somebody here will be able to tell us.
You're already talking.
How many seconds? In 6 seconds, it can get you that. So the reason why you've put that amount of money down to buy a Ferrari is because you expect the Ferrari to do that. If you now put that Ferrari on the new road they are building in Badagry, and you accelerate, and it does only 20, you're going to go back to where you bought the Ferrari from to say, this car is not doing what you told me it's going to do. That is the same way with people who you've hired. If you've hired somebody against a particular set of competencies for a particular amount of pay, and the person is not performing at the level that you expect, do me a favor, don't manage the person. Just do not manage that person. There's something that we call in HR, which is a highly toxic recruitment error. Accept that that is what has happened. A lot of times, people either don't want to accept that I made a mistake in hiring this person in the first place. Then, like Mrs. Awoshika said in the beginning, you are emotional. The person has just had twins. The person how is she going to pay her children's school fees if you send her away? All those kind of factors begin to creep in, and then you now find that the longer you wait to fire the person, the more difficult it gets. And then you also have the issue of relatives, which in our cultural setting is very common. So once you've admitted your error in recruitment, the next thing you want to do is decide what is the best exit plan for this person. Mrs. Awoshika already mentioned, it's always a good idea to do an exit interview. So the exit interview, sometimes it might be based on the fact that the person has actually put in a resignation. So exit interviews work both ways. It can be because the person wanted to leave and you think the person is valuable, and then you want to look at, are there ways how we can work this out and keep the person on? But when it comes to firing, the exit interview is meant to be able to make the person, there has to be honesty. So make sure that you have an exit interview with the person, make them understand the reason why they're being fired. Depending on where you are in your business, you may not have a job offer letter. But if the person has a job offer letter, it's important that when you do a job offer letter, you put some clauses in there about how you fire people for lack of performance. Because if you don't have that, then it becomes really difficult. So you must always have a clause to say that if your performance is not what it's supposed to be for the job that you've been hired for, that the company can hire you either without notice or 2 weeks notice or whatever. So once you've had that interview, the next thing is to just say to the person that this is what we're going to do. It's always a good idea to have something in place, either have notice in lieu of pay or pay. Sometimes it might cost you, but it's actually is saving you more money than you think when you actually fire someone and give them their paycheck. So in other words, if you cannot give them notice, if you cannot say, oh, by the end of this month, I don't want you anymore, at that interview, just have their paycheck for the month and give them, and that's it. Recently, I had an experience in my office where I hired this lady who had a first degree in, I think she had a first degree in something like English or something like that, and then she had a master's in psychology. And was actually, when I interviewed her, said to me how she's about to start a PhD. And then I had a conference that I was organizing, and we asked her to do letters. We had like a database of guests, potential guests for the conference, and we asked her to send letters to 50 women. And the template that was given to her had, let's assume it had Dear Mrs. Awoshika on the template, just for her to see how the letter should be written. She now sent 50 emails to 50 different people with Dear Mrs. Awoshika. So that, in a consulting firm, is an instant sackable offense. So there was no mitigating circumstance, and there was nowhere in the middle, because the reason why one of the reasons why she had been hired is that she had some level of initiative. In other words, that she can think for herself and see a letter that is a template and know that it is not possible that everybody on that list would have needed the same address. But of course, she was saying, oh, I thought that was how you wanted it, because that was the letter you showed me. So it's very, very important to take your emotions out of, out of the firing. And it is also very important that when you're firing in a fair and objective way. In other words, if the person is expecting pay for that month, pay the person off. Because that way, you're sending the person off, and both sides have been taken care of.
Okay, let's do a role play. One of my many CEOs, can I have one CEO? One CEO that is confident and able to play, come on the stage. Now, I want to teach you something just from what happened before the role play. Everything you want to do in business will depend to a large extent on your boldness and your courage. And I never miss this opportunity. Courage and boldness will set you out of the crowd and will give you opportunities. And sometimes you've got to take it. And whilst sometimes you're still being modest, somebody will jump ahead of you.
And not because they are better than you. They will take what you actually want. So remember that. In business, you must be bold to step out. And you must be confident and believe in yourself. Very important. Now, I'll tell you what we're going to do. See, Oche and I have vacated our seats. CEO, come and sit. No, CEO. Yes. Really, no. You can't have two CEOs in this case. Okay. You're the employee. And because of your red hair, you're about to be fired. So sit. All right. Guys, watch. I just want us to see how he will fire her. And then we'll ask Oche what is wrong with what he's just done.
I gave you a contract. I gave you a job to get 5 contracts for the business. And so far, you've only bought just 1. Give me your reasons why.
Oh, sir. It wasn't as if I, just wanted to get 1. What happened was the other 4 people I called for just didn't come for the photography session.
Well, after the training, we did a training. I taught you how to go about packaging yourself, how you need to present yourself to them, how you need to give them the points of the business, why we should get the contract to cover their event. And so far, you only bought just 1.
They complained that they did not have enough space.
I understand there are competitors. In this industry, we have so many photographers, there are competitors, but I gave you my points why the business, why clients will need us. And I expect you, since you're handling that, the sales part, I expect you to produce results, because that's where I'll get money to pay you.
Sir, what I will do now is I will make sure that the other 4...
See, I have somebody else who is waiting to get your job, and you're fine.
Oh my God!
Apprentice! No. Guys, wait. Okay. He has just fired you. So what do you do next?
Sir, please, I would rather...
My business is a young business, and we need results.
Sir, please, I hope you would understand my situation. I am learning in this business, and I really love doing what you make me do. Sir,
I'm paying
please,
bills.
I would appreciate...
I'm paying bills. I'm paying the government for tax. I'm paying several expenses.
I would appreciate...
And we need results. And my time is valuable.
Sir,
the more I spend
I would appreciate it
I hope
if
you pay me for my time.
Another opportunity to bring the, even 10 people this time, I will do it.
5 out of 1.
I will do it, sir. I will go out of my way, with all the training.
You're already fired, though.
Conclude.
I think you should reconsider me, sir. I will go out of my way and, with all the training you have.
To be fair, between now and the end of this month, if you can produce at least 2 of the contracts, I will reconsider.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, guys. Okay, both of you, stand to one side. I need 1 more CEO and 1 employee.
Ignite, from dreams to reality.